Hello, and welcome. Um, I'm gonna just check out something real quick on. Uh, oh, he's not on. Okay. Well, I want to tell like announcement. I was like an Fox in space with the stream. Pretty cool people. They know way a lot more than I do. And as you can see, my voice is still kinda crappy. Um, so we're gonna post this as my stuff. Oh, I put it wrong. Well, anywho, we're gonna put some music. So let's see what we can put here on. We already done StarCraft, so and um. Oh, I found this song. I hope this is a surprising song. It's actually a video, but what makes it good is that a video is like surprisingly strange. So we're gonna go here. We're gonna take this off, and we're gonna put stream. There you go. And I'm gonna show to the stream how does it look like. looks something like this. I hope you see it. So
1、10、100、1000、1万、10万、100万、1000万、1億、10億、100億、1000億、1兆、10兆、100兆、1000000000000000000。
the fuck was that? Okay, let's check it out. So cute, isn't it? Holy crap. Yes, that's Donald Trump. Okay. Alright, now we are putting our stuff here, and I'm gonna put a couple, like, where should I put music? Oh, by the way, this is counting. It's, the guy who made it is Hey Kim Music. Oh, and this was on the October 17th, so it's like very, very recently. Surprising. So, let's see. Okay, this is a virus. I don't know how to get like better, but I should stop. Oh, I just not cannot continue. So In order to do that, because I have to let it go, I'm already getting good at it, good, and I'm barely coughing out of it. Salute. We're gonna listen to some good music. Hold on. Alright, I feel a little bit of craziness. Let's see if it's on. Something happened. Fitting music for the actual time, isn't it? Oh, wow. I had a very strange. Anything. I shouldn't do this. The voice. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about StarCraft. No, 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 no. Sorry. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be an easier way to do this. Oh, there is. I'm gonna finish this one. Like this. Hello, penguin souls. What else in? Yeah, pretty much. Line art kinda sucks. I mean, what I can do is like I can put it like. Oh, it's kind of cool, isn't it? Oops. Yeah, it's too, for me, too scratchy. Like, these lines are way too, I don't know. There's a lot of like, for example, this is a big line that I don't want there. This is too thick. I guess. But not thick enough, so I keep making mistakes. So let me see. We can keep it on and I'm gonna make a new. I'll try something here. So how's it going, penguin souls? I think it's true. Let's see if this works. No, I think I know what I'm gonna do. Oh, okay. I think the guy in the Fox in Space just went live 3 seconds ago. So, hey, how do one get good at drawing? One get good at drawing at just I don't know. I'm really like trying to be good. Yeah, just practice. It's a real thing. Something I'm trying to do right here. I'm gonna do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I think this is up, way off. Yep, I screwed up. See what I mean? Not really. Maybe we contact another really awesome streamer. Holy crap, this is terrible. And who is... Okay, I'm gonna try something. Let me see if I can actually talk to Fox in space. So
Is it?
hello, hello everybody.
Hello? Am I coming in clear?
Yes, you are. Yes, you sound
Okay,
clear.
great. Awesome.
Hey, how you doing, Fred?
Oh, just getting back into it.
I hope you don't mind. I'm streaming right now. I'm actually doing the voice too.
Yeah, that's fine.
So there you go. I talked to Fox in space. How about it? Yeah, this guy is much better than I am. Oh, right. I don't know if you can listen to it. It's Fred Fox. Uh, the guy from Mibam's World. Actually making the Fox in space. It's pretty cool. But he's just starting, so it might take a while to speak to somebody. Um, just baffled for the concentration of this guy. Oh yeah, I think we have somebody else. Hold on. Hi, MXC.
Hello.
How's it going?
I'm still here.
Yeah, pretty cool. Let me, if actually I can. How do you come up with contact with the voice of the bad guy? Second. They known each other for 7 years. So there's going to be just two of them. Wow, it was pretty cool. It's like, I think they're Fox and Space making fun of like Crash Bandicoot and Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, I think they're making. I don't know. That's my idea. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Wait, who's second? Anyhow, yeah, this could be not animation. Well, let me see where I screwed up. Oh, we need some music. What could be really good music? I don't know. I'm gonna flange a little bit lower, and I'm gonna listen to what I like to listen to.
How are you?
Hanging. Are you talking to me?
Both of you.
I'm doing all right. Just trying to get this thing done.
All right. Trying it. Oh. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, I was asking. Fred said what he's up to, and you were about to say what you're up to.
Oh yeah. I'm up to making a crappy animation of like Tails right now. I'm doing a character. So I hope in my channel I already have like the Tails like it's drinking whiskey thing, but I hope people like it. This is a reference for you. I'm sorry, Fred. I grabbed your idea of like your guy on Fox on Star Fox and put like a little intro on my own self. But yeah, it all belongs to you.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like fun, but so if you want me, I can post the video on the links on the stream chat. Yeah. So I just posted the video on post links here. Soda, soda. Um, Hold on, there's something on the stream. Something happened. Oh, never mind. He's back. like this music.
Just, I think it's dangerous. At the first glance, I knew there was no chance to come into contact or to find a new compact. And I need to find a man. And I need to find a man. I think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous. At the first glance, I knew there was no chance to come into contact or to find a new compact. And I need to find a man. And I need to find a man. I think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous.
Well, I'm sorry about that. We have space for one more expression. Tiny expression. Call it. Oh, it's part of the song.
Afternoon, well, evening.
Hello. Hello.
Howdy.
What it do?
Nothing. My first football game was super intense. Yeah, like one guy fell, and it was a domino effect, and he like fell on one lady, and then she fell on an old man, and she was just laying like face down for a little bit. So we were like, damn, she got knocked out. But
Was this an NFL game?
yeah.
On the field?
No, in the stadium next to us, and we were in like nosebleed seats. We were second to last, like, of the highest seating. So we were second to last row, and this guy fell on this lady and like took her down, and she took down an old man, and then she just laid face down for like a minute or two. All of her friends were emergency room nurses, and she was as well. So she ended up being fine. And the guy who fell on them, he was there by himself. He just left, so nobody knew who he was. It was super intense. There was one guy who just would not shut up the whole time, like, fuck Wilson, yeah, fuck Russell Wilson. Like, because he was an Eagles fan, and it was Eagles versus Seahawks. And he would not, like, he had no chill. It was ridiculous. Oh my god. And I photobombed people, like these two people in front of us, because they were cool, but like I photobombed him, and he was nice enough to send me the picture, and he thought it was hilarious. And like I'm so short that every time people jumped up to, like, you know, because it was pretty intense game, I couldn't see over anyone. I was like trying to look. I couldn't even see the screens sometimes. I was just too short. It was pretty intense, but it was fun.
I think this is too loud.
So how is everybody today?
I'm hanging in there.
Chilling a stream.
Another guy was bouncing his leg, and like he spilled 3/4 of his beer. Sorry. He spilled 3/4 of his beer all over himself. And then later, and I was like facing Charles, trying not to laugh. I was like, oh my god. This guy, because he didn't notice for like a good couple minutes. He's just bouncing his leg, spilling beer. And then he was trying to dance with his girlfriend, and he was spilling beer on the people behind him. And then we had like this annoying grandpa guy. He wasn't really annoying, he was funny compared to the Russell Wilson guy. Like he was just like that weird grandpa guy. He kept standing up and trying to get everybody to chant. He was like saying different stuff like, you saw that move, and you saw that move, I know you saw that move. It was just like, it was really weird.
Yeah, sounds like my dad or my granddad that is like too excited for the game.
Yeah, dude. He was excited in a good way, but the other guy was literally just screaming cuss words the whole time. And there was like a couple families around us, teenagers, and it was awkward. Cause I tried so hard to like record it as if I was recording myself, and I couldn't. First of all, there's so much noise going on. I couldn't catch it. I got pictures of him though. This guy was just pissed the whole time. Cause if you've ever seen
no.
Metalocalypse, the episode with Ricky kicking it rehab center, when Toki gets that guy that's just screaming in his ear, Manhattan Sidewinder! Like, that's what this guy was doing, pretty much, but just, like, shitting all over the Seahawks, and we're in the Seahawks stadium. So it was just uncomfortable. But then afterwards, he like shook everybody's hand. I don't know. He was just weird.
Yeah, that's why I don't go to those kind of things. Like going to a hockey game in Canada is all right. I just go to the major junior anyway, so it's kind of local. But like actual football and baseball games in the States, nah. Because I always sit next to some dude who gets drunk, pisses on himself, tries to lick some random lady in the ear,
Oh
gets the
god.
shit kicked out of him and dragged out by the police. Yeah, I'm good on those kind of games.
Uh,
But the like so far, Seattle fans are pretty nice. Like there was no fights, there was no beer chucking or anything like that. But from the most part, like viewing the Philadelphia Eagles fans, my dad talking to him on the phone, he was like, "They're some of the most asshole motherfuckers," and when he cusses, it's a big deal. Like he slips, especially the S word. I mean, F word is what I'm saying. So like for him to say that, I was like, oh. And he was telling us about like when one of his old friends that I remember from California, he's from Philadelphia, so he liked to watch, the Eagles, or he liked to watch, Philadelphia football. And they'd go to a bar, and they would just, like, if you wore any other kind of jersey, they'd, like, pour drinks on you and get pissed and shit. And it was just really
Smart.
weird. So apparently they were just rude, and from what I saw, they just lived up to the stereotype my dad was telling me about. But the Seahawks fans were like, most of them were really cool. The Eagles fans behind us, like, they didn't say a word throughout the game. And then when everybody started to leave, they were like, "You don't leave even if your team is doing bad. You stay for the game." It's like, oh, people were clearing out the last 3 minutes of the game. So
Oh, I hate that attitude.
yeah.
With leaving, you gotta get out, right?
oh yeah, or traffic. We took the train for the first time. I had never taken a train. It was awesome, but yeah, people were clearing out. We stayed for like 10-15 minutes just waiting for people to go. We kept joking about like when we sat down nobody was there, and then Charles is like, the Zerg rush is happening because everyone starts coming in, there were
Oh, yeah.
69,000 people there. That is incredible.
Gumi, the Super Bowl's in my city this year. I'm kind of dreading it.
Oh dude,
Stay
I'm so
home.
sorry. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Just stay home.
It's
It's like when
February,
Pink Floyd did
Minnesota.
their first concert in the United States.
Oh no.
Yeah.
There were
heard it's
entire
February.
neighborhoods that were run to ruin by groupies and punks.
Yeah,
Who did
it's
their first
February in
show?
Minnesota, so I'm expecting it to be like 20 below and super cold. So
Even
we'll
more
see how that
reason to
goes.
not go out. The Super
Yeah, you should
Bowl
probably
and
stay
it's
home.
cold.
Yeah.
Seriously though, good luck, because it depends on who's playing, Like, oh, I have
know
to admit,
Minnesota has a shot though, so I'm kind of worried.
I don't know like much about football, but what I do know is that there's certain teams like that have like hardcore fans. Apparently the Eagles, which I learned yesterday, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
any California team
Philadelphia,
like
yeah.
the Oakland Raiders and 49ers and stuff. Because when we played the 49ers, two people that were wearing Seahawks jerseys got like jumped and beat to shit in California because they were wearing their
Damn.
jerseys.
Love
Yeah,
the divisional game. That's already a rivalry there, anyways.
so I don't know. Any Californian team, Patriots, and a couple other ones, I'm just like, nope.
I think all the crazy fans.
Yeah, not even the Rams. Yeah, they're kind of crazy.
It was cool during the halftime show. One guy won $5,000 because you have to throw the footballs in like the little opening, and you have to spell out CenturyLink, And so he did it in the time limit, and he won $5,000. And then
Oh, nice.
Chris Pratt was there actually, and he raised the 12th man flag. Apparently, he goes to the games all the time. I knew he was a fan, but I didn't know like how often he went. And so they have this like Toyota Tundra with a custom paint job of the Seahawks, and it's pretty much a game of chance. There are 6 keys. You have to take it and hit the panic button, and if the alarm starts going off, you win the car. First try, this guy wins the car. So like,
Oh,
yeah,
Oh, that's
first
pretty
try.
sweet.
it's
Turns
pretty
out it was
cool.
my dad's. He used to work at the archery range and be the president over where we live. And basically, one of the girls that used to work there and hangs out there still, it was her dad. And I was like, no way, what a small town. What a small world. But yeah, dude, won a car right off the bat. It was like,
It was that man's lucky day.
Come on.
dude, well, think about like the scheduling. If you were someone that has to schedule it, you're like, yeah, probably person 3 or 4 will win it, you know? Nope, first try, this guy won the car, and everybody was cheering and freaking out. It was pretty cool.
Sounds like you had a good time at your first NFL game, though.
Yeah, it was really fun. I will not do that for a long time because 69,075 people was the attendance. And at one point, like, because Seattle broke the sound record, and then somebody else broke it, and then we broke it again. During the third quarter, they always have, like the noise gauge go on, and people were screaming, and it was like hit the top a couple times, and I just like plugged my ears. I couldn't do it.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was
just
too much noise.
I never want to be anywhere that's trying to set any noise records.
Oh, it wasn't setting a record. It was just like they do that to like, you know, cheer and stuff, and it was really intense. It was also quite intimidating and really intense when we sat in our seats. Before anybody sat down, like it was such a long way down. We were on the second like level. It was really it was really scary. And anytime we had to go pee or buy water or anything, first of all, it was $10. $10.50 was the cheapest beer there, and then
Shit.
water was a solid $5 for one regular bottle of water. So it was pretty expensive for stuff. And then you had to hike all the way down those stairs and hike all the way back up. So my legs are killing me because it was like, oh my god, we're the second to last row. Like there was one row behind us, and after that was like some standing room if you couldn't see, but that was it. So we were
Wow.
the
That's
nosebleed
crazy.
section. It was intense. It was really fun though. Like I wish I could have seen half the game because I was too short. I was like,
Yeah, that's what like you don't realize it when you go to like a live stadium game like that. Like you don't. I feel like you see more of the action and what's going on at home half the time.
oh, so that one thing that the referees missed, and it like a lot of people were pissed. I didn't see it because I'm too fucking short. One of the players grabbed a helmet and ripped the guy down, and that's like a huge no-no.
Yeah.
So
Oh wow.
the refs missed it, and so they started the next play. So the Eagles didn't get a penalty because they had been getting penalties left and right all night. Like it was in the first like quarter alone, I think they got like 5. So they had been getting penalties all night, and then like of course Manhattan Signwriter guy was just like fucking losing it. That's bullshit, ref, and like just going off. So, but yeah, the guy grabbed his helmet and like ripped him down, and they didn't catch it. So they couldn't like throw a penalty or penalize him because they had already
They missed
started the
it.
next play.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Okay.
people were pissed.
I bet.
Wow.
One guy got hit so hard that like he just looked really confused for a second, and they took him away. Like damn, he was able to walk off the field, which is good. I was like, oh, makes my bones hurt.
That doesn't sound like fun.
Yeah.
It was cool though. It was fun.
Yeah, I've only been to one NFL game myself.
The best part about baseball games is if either one, if they're not doing so well, a lot of people get furious that they end up leaving in the middle of the game. And I don't know if you're allowed to do this, but
the couple times that I went to baseball games, I would just sit as close to the front as I possibly can when the infuriated fans start leaving. So I'm just like, well, I got some extra front row seats, or not front row seats, but like closer to the game. So
Yeah, move up. The occasional thing happens towards the end of the games.
exactly. Plus, I don't really care for baseball, so I would usually just go because I would have a buddy who's an Angels fan, and he would have season tickets, and he always just invite me over. He's just like, "Oh, I've got these tickets, and I don't have many people to go with." And I'll be like, "Ah, whatever, I'll join you."
Yeah, it's a fun group thing.
Yeah.
We used to go to Angel. We've been to a couple Angel games as kids, and they were like okay. But they played the Cardinals, which was my dad's favorite team because it's like it's the home state's team kind of deal. And then we've been to a hockey game. I have to say the hockey game is probably the most fun that I remember. I only remember bits and pieces of it, but it was the atmosphere in the Seattle stadium was great. Don't get me wrong, but like 69,000 people, the hike up,
wow.
the prices of everything, like altogether, it was too much.
Yeah. So the only reason I saw that IFL game was I put in the voice chat. The roof of the Metrodome collapsed. So then, like a couple weeks later, they had a game at the college stadium, a couple blocks away. That was outdoor, and they were giving away free tickets. So I happened to snag some free tickets to that
Wow.
game. But even then, it was like, 20 degrees and snowing and cold as hell.
And they still played through that. That's ridiculous. God
Yeah.
damn.
We left at halftime.
That was one thing that made me nervous, was I could feel like the ground like shaking, and I was like, Charlie, is it gonna collapse? Is it gonna collapse? And he's like, no. Apparently it was built, they remodeled it and like rebuilt the stadium recently, so it's earthquake proof and it's designed to flex that way. And I was like, whoa. So at some points I was more interested in like the architecture of the stadium itself, because it was like, it's so incredible how they fit 69,000 fucking people in there.
Yeah.
And you just watch a game.
Even skyscrapers are designed to sway.
Was this in Washington?
Yeah, it's CenturyLink Field.
Huh, I didn't realize Washington had an earthquake. Oh, wait, they do have earthquakes up there, too. Never mind.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Seattle especially is on the fault line, like right on it, so I don't know. I don't remember when the last earthquake was, but I know Charlie had one when he was in school, to where like the power went out for just a little bit, but they were like, it was serious. It was enough to like knock stuff off the walls, and they were like,
Yeah, I still remember the Northridge earthquake, and I remembered also the San Simeon earthquake in '03. Those were not fun at all.
Dang.
Although the San Simeon one wasn't as bad as the Northridge one. The Northridge one, like, a lot of freeways in LA were shut down, and buildings were destroyed and all that shit. But the San Simeon one, it only affected one town, and that was it. But they both were pretty high on the Richard scale. I think one was 6.9, one was 6. Oh, and I know the San Simeon one was 6.5. I believe the Northridge one was 6.9. But yeah, scary stuff.
Wow.
yeah, not my thing. I've been through a couple of them when I was in Vegas with my grandparents and in California, but nothing huge. But still, like, to wake up, like, shaking and you look out, my grandma had a chandelier and it's swinging. I'm like, nope, I'm not into this. I know this right now.
There was just an earthquake in Delaware, wasn't there?
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago. That was on
No, that was like this week or the past week.
Oh yeah, Sparks said something about that.
Huh.
You could feel it from like DC to New York.
Wow, it wasn't even that big. It's just a little 4.1.
But it's in Delaware, like the size of a sock. Like, Delaware and Rhode Island.
It's in a place where earthquakes never happen. I'm sure they'll notice.
Probably. Yeah, because
Yeah, you know.
4.1 is nothing in California.
They're just like, whatever. I'm gonna be late to
It's
work.
Tuesday.
Oh, that's how I was when I was in California. I just didn't give a shit. It was just like, oh, 4.1. Oh, that's cute. Alright, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. It's like 6. It's like, okay, let's get out of the house. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, at 6, your house is dancing. You think your house was raving or some shit when it's at 6.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So it's almost confusing because there's a lot of like rape. I live in Los Angeles in the middle of it, so I have a
Ah,
lot of neighbors. So yeah, it feels like every day.
yeah, I used to live in Northridge at the time, so I know what that's like. But here in Vegas, we don't get much. The only natural, well, not natural disaster, but the only like extreme thing we have in Vegas is the heat. That's about it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I have like a friend there and a couple of family over there.
Oh, nice.
Well, it's more friends. My family so just come to bed. They go sometimes there, but they usually are like here or in Mexico.
Yeah, same with my family. They're either living in Mexico, they're in California, they're in Texas, or they're in North Carolina. That's where all my family pretty much resides. And
Mm.
I'm the lone guy in Vegas. Woo! I love Vegas though.
Huh. It gets pretty crazy out there with like the casinos or just living outside of Vegas.
I usually like at first I go to this. Did go to the strip every once in a while, but then it got really old real quick. So a lot of I just did what a lot of locals do. They usually just go outside of the strip. Like if you want to go to a casino, we just go to the quote unquote the locals casinos, where we would just go to like South Point or the Santa Fe station.
Hmm.
No, I'll even see some people at the grocery stores because grocery stores and gas stations in Vegas have casinos in them too. Well, the slot machines.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Nevada is
Yeah.
a huge gambling state. That's pretty much our bread and butter.
That's all you really have. Not the desert, though.
You go into Rite Aid and there's
Well, I'm not
like
surprised, but
slots.
Yeah, Rite Aid, you would see a freaking slot machines and the right when you walk in.
We go to Walgreens, like, cause my grandma lives by a Walgreens, and then we'll go get like, pictures developed or anything. But yeah, there's always slots, like right when you walk in the door, and you're like, haha. It's a gas station, or not gas. It's a drugstore, just little drugstore, no gas station, nothing. Every
that's
gas station it seems like has at least like 2 slots in there too.
They
kind of
do.
what's fun about going to Chicago because a lot of the restaurants have bring your own beer and stuff. It's like, oh, you can just walk into a restaurant with a 6-pack and have at it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, then we'll bat an eye.
They have that around here. It ain't nothing.
Mm.
I guess for me, living in a state that until recently didn't have any liquor sales on Sundays, it was kind of strange. Just like go to a place where you could walk into a CVS at like 2 a.m. and buy like a 175 of vodka and then take beer to any restaurant you wanted to.
Oh, dude, that sounds bomb.
Mm.
Yeah, the only thing you can do in Vegas as far as alcohol goes, you can walk around the strip with alcohol. That's it. That's just the strip. You can't do that in any other street in Las Vegas.
It's when you can bring your own champagne and they'll give you like a pitcher of orange juice. You can make your own mimosas.
Ooh, I dig
For
that.
brunch. Yeah. I was like, I could get used to that.
No, I wanna go to Vegas.
I don't.
Should.
See, I'm torn about Vegas because I liked it when I would go as a kid because we'd go out like during the day, rarely during the night because my grandma's lived there since like '94, and um, you got Circus, and then I remember when they put in the $1 Million Garden in the Bellagio. I don't think I've ever been there. It's been so long. we'd go and see the lion. You go to the Hershey's store, and there's a lot of fun things to do. And then I was over 21 when I went, and that's when things suck. Like there's so many like tourist trap things. Like you want to take a picture with Elvis, they'll be like, "Oh yeah," and then they harass you for money afterwards, like that you owe it.
Oh
to them.
yeah.
Yep.
It's,
Was it in Times Square, isn't it?
it's not Times Square. Oh well.
Well, I think it's like that too. They have a lot of the people that like
Oh
dress
yes,
up as like.
characters.
Well, that's
Characters.
about everywhere. That's about everywhere in big cities. Because even in LA, there's Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was gonna
Yeah.
say Hollywood or Las Vegas, New York City, and you got LA and other places. But then also like you've got the CD scam where they're like, "Hey, you want to sample my album? No, thank you. No, thank you." We
Oh,
got
yeah.
that a couple times last night after the game, but then they demand money out of you. It was cool to drink. It's just it sucks for how expensive it is, and they don't give you as much to drink. And if you do go buy your own drink, it's like you're gonna be paying a bit. Sorry, she's watching ice skaters.
Oh, it's all good.
Grandma would be proud. They're so graceful and beautiful. Oh, she
Well-
loves the ice skaters. But yeah, the cool thing was getting to walk around. I was like, I'm drinking and there's a cop 5 feet away from me. But yeah, some of it. I hate the heat. I hate like we didn't gamble. We went to the Excalibur arcade, and all the tickets I won, I just gave away to kids, or anything that I won, I just gave away. But we got, I don't know how much it was. I think it was like $15 for a yard cup. And then Charlie's beer was like almost $10, like one beer.
Ouch. Sounds about right.
It's expensive.
Yeah, and on top of that, they now charge for parking, which is another reason why I stopped going to the strip.
They do?
Because they do. Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah.
about every casino there now charges parking. So I'm just like,
How much?
I have no idea, but yeah, I've heard it was quite a bit, like $10 I think is what it was, but still, that's just like, no thanks. I'd rather go to the outside of the strip anyways. The casinos outside are much better. Like South Point's my most favorite one by far. Whenever I go to a casino, it's always South Point.
What? Like, I totally forgot what I was gonna ask. Never mind. I was gonna say like, but isn't because Uber and like taxi like Uber, Lyft, and like there's an Uber carpool, whatever. I've only used an Uber once. I don't really know too much about it. And then you got like Lyft and things like that, and taxis. Did that put like a damper on it?
No, they just got more greedy because yes, despite the fact that there's Lyfts and Ubers all around the strip, they're still always full of parking. Like it doesn't even matter. I remember going there before the whole change in prices that they've done for parking, like charging for parking. It was always jam packed. So I don't think Uber or Lyft did a single dent on that. I think if anything, because of the fact that they're charging for parking now, more people are going to be using Lyft and Uber to get to the strip. But I decided to personally just go on a protest and be like, no thanks. I am just gonna go to South Point or one of the other casinos outside the strip.
Oh,
Yeah. But regardless, I still love the city. I love the fact that I don't have to worry about paying like $1,500 for a 1-bedroom and no parking like in LA. I just don't miss any of that.
But you have to deal with. I shit you not. I bought a pair of like knockoff Tom's shoes, and walking in the parking lot was so hot it melted the glue in my shoes. I'm not a fan of that. That's just too goddamn hot. Yeah, like the inside, whatever
Need
it's
some better
called.
shoes. Jeez.
Well, dude, it was just so freaking hot. That was like 2008 heat wave. They had like record-breaking heat, and it was $4 a gallon for gas.
Oh, I thought you were saying like last week when you went to the game.
No,
I know, I was gonna say what? I know.
Okay.
Ridiculously, I love going to see my grandma, but I fucking hate the heat. So if I can just sit in grandma's house. I'm cool. We went and walked around the block and got the mail, and I was sweating so bad from like 15 minutes of being outside. I was like,
Oh, yeah,
I'm
because
not.
you went in like September, didn't you?
Yeah, at the end of
So it was like
September.
peak summer.
God, it was just no. And we
Oh,
used to go
no.
before in June because that's when my younger sister would get out of school. And so we'd meet up and we'd like all the sisters would get together and we'd go see grandma. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of it at all whatsoever.
Yeah, when I first moved to Vegas, I made the biggest mistake walking to the mail barefoot, and it was 106 outside, and I was just halfway walking to
Bet you never
the
did that
mailbox.
again.
Yeah, no, I did. I regretted it immediately. Halfway walking towards the mailbox, I
Oh
was
my
like,
god.
"Oh shit, what did I do?"
How's the blisters?
What happened?
How's the blisters?
Oh, they've healed eons ago, but yeah, it was painful. Yeah, there were blisters, and it was
Sorry about
not
that.
fun.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Cause like I'm originally from California. I've never lived in the desert until for the first time in June. So that's when I learned. Like you live and you learn.
Yeah,
That
pretty
would
much.
kill me. I would melt if I moved to the desert from here.
That's how I feel if I moved to Minnesota, except the opposite.
The thing is, like, I like the cold. I just hate snow. Everything about it, like the first time you're like, oh my god, this is magical, and then you grow up and you're an adult and you're like, oh fuck, I'm missing out on work or I have to go to work in the snow. It's not fun. Snow sucks after 5 minutes, or if you have to get groceries.
I don't mind snow. I don't mind winter. I just hate how long winter lasts here and how cold it gets. Like, if winter was, like, maybe 4 months instead of, like, 6, it'd be fine. If it didn't get below 20
Oh,
for, like,
yeah,
weeks
right,
on end.
single digit numbers.
Or when it's, like, 40 below wind chill for, like, 2 weeks straight, it's just god-awful. Like,
we had an ice storm,
Being outside
and
is
I
misery.
thought, like, at first I was like, hell yeah. We lived with Charlie's parents, so I wasn't, like, a real adult. I just had a job and whatevs. And, I had my first ice storm and I was all excited about it, and Charles was like, this is gonna fucking suck. At the end of the first day, I hated it. I missed out on 4 days of work because we didn't have power in the town for like 4 or 5 days.
Oh man.
Ouch.
Like teeny portions of the town did, so it was like non-stop people going and getting gas and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
just remember it was in January. I was still in college. It was between semesters, but I was working full-time at the dorm I was at, and I would take a bus, and then from the bus stop where it dropped me off, it was like maybe a mile walk to work, and that week it was like 40 below wind chill. I literally wore pajamas under my jeans. I was all bundled up. I had a sweater under my coat. I had a scarf over my face, and in that mile walk from the bus stop to work, my legs were like red raw. I had frost all over my scarf over my face, and it was just like insane. It was so cold.
oh, by the way, I figured out something really horrible last night. So, we were so tired. We get to where his parents' house is. I had told them, like, don't let Jolene sleep past 5:15 in the afternoon, or else she won't sleep at night. Like, she won't go to bed at night. His mom was like, we walk in and we start talking. She was like, yeah, she fell asleep at 5:30. And I was like, you're kidding me. Like, how long did she sleep? And she said she didn't know. She had a bad tooth, and so I understand a bit, but I left a note with instructions in the bag. Like, it sounds stupid, but we're getting her to say please and thank you, make sure she has her vegetables, and things like that. And then, like, how much medicine to give her if she needs it, kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And then, so we get home. Well, on Saturday, Charlie gave me the house key to get in the house because he went to his parents. So he just gave me the key and I came in. I have my own house key, but I barely use it because I don't ever leave. So I forget I have one most of the time. And we came home and I was like, do you have the house key? And he was like, no. I was like, fuck. So we left the house key in the house. I check the windows. We can't get in. we call in the laundry room here. There's an after hours like hotline for the apartment managers. So I call them. I go through the thing and I get the lady on the phone and she tells me, I was like, well, we're locked out of our apartment and I can't get in. Can you help us with having somebody unlock it? And she goes, well, unfortunately, like you'd have to call a locksmith because we don't help out with that anymore. That's on you. And if there's any parking or something issue. And I asked her, I was like, well, are you guys going to reimburse me? And she said, no, any parking or locked out issue, you have to settle on your own and we don't pay for that. I was like, you guys didn't let us know this before. And they had done lockouts.
This was getting locked out of your apartment?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, she was just like, well, you're supposed to handle it yourself, this. And I was like, thank you, have a great day. And I said it like that. Like, obviously I wasn't happy. So, I call afterwards, I call the manager, like the girl who I talked to that when we got the back door thing fixed. And I was like, I'm locked out of my apartment. And I called the emergency line and they said I have to call a locksmith. I wasn't told of this before you guys would let people in, and now you're not going to reimburse me or help me get in back into my apartment. What can we do about this? And I hang up.
Aren't they supposed to have a spare key?
Oh yeah. So that's the best part is Charlie got into our fucking house with a credit card. We didn't bolt the door.
Isn't that the worst part? Because you know you can just break into your house with a credit card.
Sarcasm, bro.
I'm totally sarcastic. So the bolt's been on all day. I'm not happy.
No.
So he got in the fucking house with a credit card after he called a locksmith. He told the guy, he called him back and he's like, look, I got into my house, but if you come out, I'm still going to pay you the $30 for you coming out, like just for your time. And he said, no problem, not at all. So the guy was like, no, don't worry about it. And he turned around and went back to the company. And it was going to be half an hour. The whole time, we don't have any juice, water, or milk, anything for JoJo, and she's sitting in the back seat freaking the fuck out. When we get back in the house, I'm bitching and cussing about the apartment manager, and I'm on Discord cussing. I get a call from the manager. She calls me and I answer. And I was talking to her and I was like, yeah, well, we got into our apartment. She's like, oh, okay, that's good. Do you have to call a locksmith? And I was like, no, we didn't. I didn't tell her anything else. And I was like, so you guys don't offer lock it? Like you don't come and unlock the doors for anyone? And she says, well, I'm not a stickler about these things. So if Darlene is in the area or if I am, we'll do that during the day, but after hours, unfortunately, you'll have to handle it yourself. And I was like, so basically she's saying if she's feeling up to it, she'll unlock our door.
Oh wait, let me ask this. What time of day did you guys call them asking for help on that?
This was last night at like midnight, so I understand.
Well.
That's why I called the after hours night, but she told me during the day though, if like she's not going to be an asshole, that they don't unlock your apartment anymore. You have to call a locksmith and pay out of pocket. They didn't tell anybody this, because before they used to have on the newsletters and hang out. Yeah, they used to have on the newsletters that, if you get locked out, this is the number you call, or you go visit apartment 13, blah blah blah, do this. And I was like, oh, okay. They didn't they haven't informed anyone, or at least me or my neighbors that I know of, that you have to pay a locksmith. They didn't say that they don't provide that service anymore, that it's all on you and they won't reimburse you. And she's acting like, I'm not going to be an a-hole, so if it's during the day, yeah, we'll help you. But basically, they don't do unlocks anymore for their own apartment complex.
I can imagine how many stoned people called at like 3 in the morning and go, hey.
Dude, I can imagine that, but I was like, I was nice and everything, and I'm never rude. And really, like, you just don't offer them anymore. If she feels up to it during the day, or if the maintenance lady is in the area and not gone, she'll do it. And then that's a possibility. That's not 100%, and that's them doing it if they feel like it. They're not required to anymore, apparently.
Well, I think even our caretakers have they have keys to every apartment, but I think they can still charge you $20
it was
to unlock the door.
8 a.m. till 8 p.m. during the day, it was free. They'd come and they unlock you. Anytime after 8 p.m. till 8 a.m., they would charge you like $15. I understand because what if like you're a maintenance lady and you have to get up and do some whatever, like that's perfectly fine with me, no problem. But they have not notified any of the tenants or us that they don't offer that service anymore. That it's out of your own pocket. They're not going to reimburse you, and you have to call a locksmith.
Are they new owners or?
No, they fired the manager, and they have a different manager, and it's the same owners, but they're just piece of shit owners.
So basically, it's either was it the owner's decision or was it under management that decided?
Both. It's both. Like the owners decided they just don't want to do it anymore because the manager isn't on site. I don't know what happened to the last manager. She used to be like a 5-minute walk across the parking lot for me. You know what I mean? It takes me 3 minutes to get to her house. But now they don't accept rent on site. You have to go and sign up for a program or mail it in. And that's how they accept rent. You have to send it to Seattle.
Oh.
That's lame.
Yeah, no, just yesterday, apparently someone's key snapped off the front door. So it's like, sorry, use the other door. This one doesn't work. We're calling the locksmith tomorrow.
The equivalent for me, though, would be, so there's a door you have to open to get into the apartment complex. Oh, somebody's key snapped off in it. You're gonna have to grab a ladder and climb in through someone's window because we don't take care of that anymore. That's like pretty much what they're saying. So if my key snaps off, I'm liable and I have to pay for it. Even though it's their apartment. Like, I hate them.
Yeah, that's
They don't sound like fun.
They do suck. I'm just, and we had just made the decision. We were like, you know what? Let's get rid of a bunch of furniture and downsize. We're month to month here, so we're not obligated to do anything. We can fix the, like a shower dial ourselves, and we'll just make it comfortable until we can pay off some debt and get out of here, By tax return time, we'll be able to afford something better, nicer, possibly a house, whatever. No, as soon as we get home tonight, I'm gonna be like, we should bounce.
Yeah, even like with all the stuff you're saying about it, like flooding and during rain and stuff, like, yeah, that's not good.
I think it's good that you're at least month to month, because I was on a year lease, and then somewhere in the middle of the lease, we had new management, and new management just thought, let's try to increase our revenue by accepting Section 8 housing. So that was not fun at all. Like, it was not fun. People were drug dealing. We've had 2 shootings. The area got tagged and all that. And then new management came in, and as of last month, they just said, we can't take this anymore. All the Section 8's coming out. And right now, it seems like we're seeing the last of the Section 8, and thank goodness for that. But once this lease ends, I am getting out of here, because
I never knew what Section 8 meant till I was on YouTube and I was looking at like hoarder houses or like people that leave because they get evicted. You know those type of videos on YouTube, those kind of things?
yeah, I've seen them.
That's how I found out what Section 8 was. I was like, you know what? Holy shit! So anytime we've looked at apartments and like we accept Section 8, we're like, nope.
No, don't do it. I would not
Section 8
recommend
was
it.
like a video game. Section 8 Prejudice?
No.
No, it is not.
I wish.
The video game is how many like drug dealers can you have, like Grand Theft Auto style, how many drug dealers can you fit in the house? Like, you gotta punch 10 holes in 5 different walls. Make sure you dislodge the stove and sell it.
Yeah, I understand.
That sounds nice for a video game.
What happened, Funky?
That sounds nice for a video game, but not for reality. I seen it too much.
Yeah, I saw that like the first month. The first month I was there, I didn't witness. Actually, I witnessed one domestic abuse, and the side neighbors. I've listened to them numerous times, where I would listen to like kids screaming, like,
Oh, you talking about low income?
Yes,
Yeah.
like Section
Yeah,
8.
it's not worth it. I
Dude, do you live by me?
I was approved for it, and I went to go look at the places, and it was just like, nope. They're like people half naked pissing in the parking lot, and
Nope.
naked children running around unattended, like little like 2-year-olds just walking around naked around rusted old broken down
Wow.
cars and stuff. It was pretty bad. It was like something out of a movie.
Dude, I would come home like 11 o'clock at night, and I would see like kids as young as 5, 11 o'clock at night, just running around the apartment complex. I'm just thinking to myself, where the hell are your mom and dad at? For crying out loud.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it'll definitely motivate you to get a better income. That's one thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
There-
Lord.
the apartment we used to live at is managed by the same people, and for the longest time me and Charlie worked like with a closing shift, and he'd work like the swing shift at Walmart, so he'd get off at like 1, maybe 1:30, 1:45 if he was held late, and I would close Sonic, so we'd close at Friday, Saturday, we'd close at midnight, and 11 p.m. the other nights, so there's always like an hour and a half worth of work to do before I could like leave. So the nights we get done early, I go wait for Charles and stuff. We go home. During the day, like these people would just let their fucking kids bike up and down the sidewalk there and just scream at the top of their lungs like something was happening to them. And it was so annoying. It's the middle of summer. You're letting your kids do this like bike riding and then just wow.
Oh god.
And the little girl was the cutest little platinum blonde girl, but I swear to God, she had the perfect like "I'm dying, help me" scream, and just back and forth on her bike. It was like the worst. And then like we'd have like this one apartment. So the way the apartments were set up was there was a big string of them in the middle, and then on each end 4 apartments were stuck back a little bit, so they weren't technically attached to the main building except 2 corners were touching. And so this we lived in the tucked back ones on the left end, so we lived on the bottom right farthest corner. Well, where the building like gets pushed up, so to speak, there's the top apartment. We listened to him, like his girlfriend was beating the shit out of him or something, and then all of a sudden you hear like a crashing. You hear her saying like "stop hitting me," and then crying, and then bottles smashing, and like all this horrible stuff. Like she
Yep.
them out and everything, and they would constantly like speed out of there, like not even giving a shit. They'd like follow each other in their cars and speed. And like the smoking section is right there, so they could have like hit and killed somebody and they'd still keep going because their boyfriend's flying off. Anyways, like she'd get kicked out, they'd have a horrible fight, get kicked out, and then she's back for another month. She'd move back in, and then another horrible fight, get kicked out for a couple days, and come back. This was their regular for them for a couple months. And then after that, I was like, I just called the manager because I knew them, and I was like, hey, like there's some shit going on, like he's wailing on her, we can hear it outside in the middle of winter. And then there's like on top of that, I didn't say this, but you can just see and smell all of the weed smoke pouring out of their apartment because there's a light right by their window. So they're like hotboxing their house with like a bunch of kids, and as soon as something happens, like the manager goes and knocks, and then he goes back to his house because he's waiting for the police. Like 6 kids come out of their apartment, and they all look underage, and they all scatter. One of them gets caught by the cops and is rounded back up. The girlfriend is gone, and like so it's like the guy that was wailing on her, and then another person, and like this kid that they were able to, and like they sent more people out to round up the kids. It was like a huge underage drinking party, and they got evicted shortly after. Another party apartment. Like they were in there for 3 days. I'm not kidding, 3 days, and then they were evicted. So Charles was taking out the trash one night, and he was like, "Yeah, there's some fucking weird girl talking to me." So I look out the window and was like, "Oh, she's the new girl that moved into like apartment blah blah blah." His younger brother used to live in that apartment, so I was like, "Yeah, she lives in Dan's old apartment." And he was like, "Oh, she was talking about like this is her first apartment, and every time I'd pass by there to do like laundry and stuff, there was always like 7 people in the main room. Like they had one couch and a bunch of people sitting down, so I was like, oh shit. And they had a huge party one night, and police came and everything, and then she was gone the next day. Like she was evicted.
Well, that didn't last long.
Yeah,
Wow.
3 days. That's a fucking record, especially for the place we live. Like people complained about the guy and his girlfriend fighting constantly, and it took like, I think, a year for them to like evict him. But her, like, she got evicted in 3 days. That's like, she just set the new high score.
Yeah, with my neighbors, they were there till 2 months ago, but before that, the abuse only went on for probably about a good month, but it was still traumatizing to hear, you know, like little kids screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, don't do that!" And then you hear a
Oh,
crash, and then
oh
a
my
mom
God.
screaming. Yeah, I would hear that constantly.
Let's
Metro
find a,
didn't do shit.
find a better topic.
This is really dark
So,
for a stream
okay.
chat.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever seen 2 for $5 hot dogs like on the street and been like, oh, that's sketchy, and then you try them and they're actually delicious?
That looks gross.
No,
Sounds
there's
amazing.
There's a guy in Seattle. We were passed by him. Like I did my friend's wedding and she did a pub crawl, but I was like a couple months pregnant at the time, and I was like 1.5, 2. So I didn't drink or anything, but I was constantly sick, but I wanted one of these hot dogs, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of sketchy. It's a flat $5. It's cheaper than all the pubs we're going to. I had one and it was delicious. It was like one of the best hot dogs ever. And that guy was out, like when we were walking to the stadium or out of the stadium, he was there, and I was like, dude, it's 2 for $5. I've had those hot dogs. You should get one. But then we just kept going because the whole crowd is like pushing you know, and the line was like 50 people long. So that's another thing.
Holy shit! So it's like In and Out with hot dogs. I like that.
No, it was like a cart on the street. He had his whole setup right there, and then another tent where he sold like Seahawks gear. I think it was bootleg, but
The Seattle hoax.
oh,
I could've
okay.
sworn it was
So the
authentic.
question is street food vendors. Is there one in your area where you're like, you gotta have this? It's super good.
Where I
Food
live,
trucks
we
all
have
over
a
the
lot of
place
taco.
here.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. A lot of
There's a
Mexican.
poutine truck near Frost.
I live in the middle of LA. Oh,
Yeah, Funky knows what I'm talking about. Those taco trucks.
yeah, there's everywhere they here. Everywhere. You can actually go on the corner in the street and you can find like a couple like dudes just cooking up like, and they keep changing places because the cops actually can grab them.
Oh, that sounds about right. That's the
Yeah,
one thing I
yeah,
do
but-
miss about.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Oh, I was just gonna say that's the one thing I miss about LA. They have good Mexican food. I still have yet to find good Mexican food out here in Vegas.
Have
the
you
taco
been to
trucks are the
Alberta's?
best. Alberta? Oh, you
The-
mean
in
Roberto's?
No, in California, it's the original Albertas. They served like a 3 to 5 pound burrito, and my dad would buy one, and he'd eat like half of it and split the rest of it with me and my 2 sisters. And it was just Alberta's burritos. It was like a little baby. It was so good. Spanish food that was delicious. They'd serve it on like 3 paper plates, you know.
Is this by like El Monte?
I can't. It's been so long because I think the last time I went there was like 11, so this is like a while ago.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, because it sounds familiar, but it's like, I think I might have been to one, and if this is an El Monte, then I think I know what you're talking about.
I know it was near Anaheim or Tustin, one of those 2.
Oh, okay, that's Orange County, never mind. Yeah, I'm talking about, like, referring to LA County, but yeah.
Mm,
Awesome. I'll talk to you guys later.
Alrighty, have a good one.
have a good one.
But yeah, no, LA has a lot of good Mexican places, though.
Yeah.
So at the library I work at, there's been like for the past 2 weeks, some guy has been leaving around in random places on random parts of the bookshelves like empty bottles of, it was like banana rum cream, which is like it's, I mean, it sounds weird, but it's like a shot glass, essentially, like a bottle the size of a shot glass full of just a rum cocktail, I guess. And somehow we just haven't been catching this guy, even though we've been looking out for him.
Oh,
But like,
shooters.
but like every single day we find it, and the weirdest part is it's in a different spot every single time. But we've actually noticed a pattern. It's like, if you can imagine like a bird's eye view of the library, because the building's really simple. It's just like, you know, rows and rows and rows of shelves. The empty bottles are like going across like every 2 rows from like the west side of the building to the east. And we have no idea if this pattern's intentional, but it's driving everyone at the library crazy because we have not been able to figure out who's been doing it.
Do you not have cameras at your place?
It's not. Is it by particular books? Like, is this guy really into bird watching or anything funny?
No, it's just like if there's an open spot on the shelf, it'll just be sitting there. And that's the weird thing. We do have cameras. We do have
They're
cameras.
single shooter bottles. You know how like they sell those Airplane or other places where it's like, what is it, 50 ounces? So it's like about like a shot or a shot and a half worth of alcohol, but sometimes they sell them like little mini cocktails and stuff.
You use the little bottles to sell in the bins that are like samplers.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
they're like mini shooters or like Airplane ones or hotel.
Shot glass, yeah.
Yeah,
Hotel bottles, yeah.
they're coming out with new ones that are legit shot glasses, and like it'll be like a Sex on the Beach drink or buttery nipples or a porn star drink, and it's a
I've
shot
seen those.
glass that looks like a yin and yang. It's separated like yin and yang, and
have seen
one
those,
side is like
yeah.
one sort of the alcohol and one side is like flavoring or something.
Yeah, they have those here. They're like kind of
And-
swirly, and one's got like Bailey's ice cream, some pink stuff in it. One's called like Miami Vice.
But
It
that's
was
why.
funny.
But that's why we're so concerned, because not only is it just you're just not allowed to have drinks in the library, but also like this is including like the children's section of books too. We've been finding the bottles there too, which for obvious reasons is very concerning. And even though we do have cameras, they've literally like all have been in blind spots.
Oh, what if it's a coworker that's just like, I need my fix while I stock, you know,
Can you see the
Renaissance
stream?
history art.
We don't think it's a coworker because like it's a small enough of a library to where it's not like a big city, so there's not like more than 10 people who work there.
Could we check
So-
the stream?
It'll take me a second to load it up. Hold on.
Sounds good to me.
Question, does the guy make it like an apartment, like it's like every day, like 2 rows in the way?
So like the pattern is like, imagine like a bird's eye view of the library. We just got like aisles and aisles of bookshelves. Just a simple straight across library. It's like we find the bottle like jumping every 2 rows, like every day or so.
You should put like a note on the next spot you think is gonna jump in.
I mean, we have an idea, but I mean, I don't know. We're just mainly annoyed that we can't find him yet.
You should have like someone like on shift just watch the areas, like keep walking around. Like that's just what they're dedicated to do until they find it, and everyone else just handles whatever they need to do in the
You have
library.
asset protection in the library, but it's really just to catch this one guy who can't go home and get drunk, so he just goes to the library, ditches the evidence, and goes home.
I mean, we could try that, but like the building is like long and thin, so I would almost say we would need like 2 people, because it could be pretty feasible to where even if a person's like
Oh, yeah.
patrolling around the shelf, that it's easy for someone to just, oh, I'm looking at a book, don't mind me, and then just
And it's
take it out of their
obvious.
pocket or something.
It's obvious if you see the same guy walking around. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's how I know what the loss prevention looks like at our the grocery store we go
Walking
to.
around at the speed of walking.
But we it's because we frequent there so much. It's like, huh, dude. First of all, you're not being covert op whatsoever, and second of all, I've seen you shop here every time I come here. I know that you're LLP, so I'm not trying to steal, but just be a little more, wear a better hoodie. I don't know.
Part of it is like, even though we're not a big library, we still get a lot of people because we have free computer use. And so there's a lot of people over the age of 40 who just use the computers, whether it's for tax forms or whether it's like, oh, I'm trying to send an email to my grandson. Like, we get that question like every other day, and it's actually kind of adorable because they genuinely have no idea what they're doing at all. How do I get on the internet? You're on the internet. Oh, how do I get to the Google? You're on Google.
Take me to my son. First of all, I don't know his name. And second of all, what do you mean take me? Does he have a MySpace or a Facebook? He's on the internet. He's there. You'll find him.
Well, no, strangely, they're smart enough to know that they have to email them, and they have an email somehow. They're like, yes, yeah, my grandson sent me up an email or something like that. It's sweet, but the point is, like, even though we're a small library, relatively speaking, we still get a lot of people, and we generally, even though we only have 10 workers, we have different shifts for the morning and the evening. Mm-hmm. And we just find it once a day. It's not like they've all been in the evening. There have been some in the morning and stuff like that. So unless he slips up and doesn't find a blind spot from the cameras, then it might take a while to figure out if there's a person who's been coming there every day, besides all the other old people who come there every day.
Is there enough in the payroll to hire security for that, or?
Okay, so it's a part of a county library system, so there is a security, but that security is for the entire county. So they're stationed kind of like at the main library of the city, and if they need to come over to our library, they can usually get there relatively quickly. So yes and no, but like, we don't have like a specific like policeman at our library.
And it'd have to be something bigger than just a bottle being left. It'd have to be
Exactly.
like certain books are being stolen that are either worth money or historical value. Like it'd have to be worth it.
Yeah, and just simply because, ultimately it's a public library, and we're kind of in an area where people are stingy with their taxes, so we try not to like spend too much on certain things, so it'd be hard to get the money for it anyway, past what we already have.
To be fair, what county isn't stingy on their taxes, though?
Yeah, true enough. But like, I guess it would be a little bit different if we were maybe like a big city or something like that. Like this is New York City or something like that. But
okay, that makes sense.
But no, we're in the Ozarks, Southwest Missouri.
Oh no, even when I was living in Los Angeles County, they were still very stingy about everything. Just because there's always a budget on this and this, we don't have enough money for this and that. Yeah. So rest assured, even in big cities, there's a huge tight budget as well.
Luckily, though, surprisingly, our library system does get a lot of donations, at least, so at least renovations are easy.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice.
As far as entertainment goes, does the entertainment usually donated, or do you guys also pay that from your own pocket?
For what?
Like for new books, new CDs, new movies, and stuff like that. Are those usually donated, or does that come out of the money that's given to the libraries?
Both. We do accept donations of any book that isn't either A, falling apart, or B, isn't one of those like Reader's Digest collection of books things. No, we don't take encyclopedias and we don't take magazines, but otherwise anyone can donate any good conditioned book. We've even gotten a few old books too, but we just kind of keep those in the back because we can't put them on the shelf and let people check them out. Like, I think the oldest thing we got is we got a Latin textbook from like the as in like not like a Latin class, but it was like a science book back when they wrote those in Latin for colleges, and that was pretty cool. But obviously, we would never let anyone check that out ever, so we sent that to the city archives. But yeah, someone donated that to us. Other than that, like in terms of like new books, there's generally a rather large list of authors, and we'll just kind of get monthly deliveries of any new books from the very large set of authors.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
That's
to stay like relevant or to like keep up with like supply and demand.
Oh, both actually.
Okay.
We have just like right as you walk in, just one of the aisles is dedicated to any book that's been new to the library for the past half year.
I just haven't been to the library in forever, and the last time I went, it was to look up a specific piece of Washington history, and then I was out.
Oh, dude, they've gone like high tech. Well, at least where I live in Vegas, like if you sign up for the library out in Clark County, you also get a subscription to this service called Hoopla, which is kind of like a Netflix for books. Yeah, I know, that's what I thought too. I was thinking of that SpongeBob episode. When I saw that, I remember.
No, my grandma goes to one of the Clark County libraries, and she's always like, it's funny because she'd be like, "Oh, here's the section," and I was like 20 or something, and we went to go see her, and she was like, "Oh, here's the section you want to be in," and it's like young adult teen. I was like, "Thank you, Grandma," but I ended up renting Degrassi and watching it.
Oh, nice.
I was like, you know what? That's also the same place. The story I've told about the howler monkeys. When I was younger, we stayed with my grandma sometimes during the summers, and she would take us to the library, and we'd get to rent books and stuff. So I was like a little kid, like 10 or so. I got Harry Potter on like basically audiobook, and then I got a relaxation CD, like Sounds of the Jungle, whatever. And I start playing this at night in my CD player, and these howler monkeys start coming on, like, it wasn't a relaxation CD, it was like, I don't know who the hell finds that relaxing, but yeah, that was pretty, I laughed out
Sir, imagine The Simpsons.
Can you imagine being in this big house? Everybody's asleep, and then the howler monkeys come. Yeah, it was like.
Someone's play some double bass drum and sledge guitar over that.
Oh yeah, dude! It was supposed to be like, and that's the thing. It wasn't like the first or second track. It was like 4, 5, or 6. It was well into the CD. So they had like rain, and they had birds,
and then Roots, like, Bloody Roots.
Like the canopy sounds and stuff, and then they have like, some different stuff going on, and then like a river and things, and like some elephants or whatever, and then it was like out of nowhere howler monkeys at night, and I was like, no.
Oh my god, Gibby, you have to watch this.
What's even funny is if they had like a screaming fox in there somewhere.
Did you see my Screaming Foxes animation that I made like 15 years ago?
I did not. Where is it on YouTube?
Probably. If you just go on Google and type in "I love foxes," it's like the second thing down. Volume warning.
Oh, I love foxes. Albino black sheep.
Yep.
Alright, I'll check it out.
But
extreme volume warnings. Just letting you know.
Oh God.
But like all libraries are different, but I still recommend that you just check out your library, because you'd be surprised what they have. Because like libraries in my county are actually doing this thing, for example, where we have like toys for toddlers that you can check out for like up to 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
It is. So like for all you know, your library could have toys that you can check out if you're too lazy to like, or you just need the money or whatever. Yeah, just give them the toy. And I do mean it's for toddlers, just because obviously like the toys are stuff like building blocks and ABC puzzle.
Dude, have you seen
stuff
how
like
expensive those are in the store brand new though? Like I shit you not, 60 mega blocks is like, if you go to Walmart, like $15 on sale. like certain kid toys, like we only pick up if they're on sale for that reason. They get very pricey very quick. And especially
Yeah.
when they're cheaply made, you're blowing through, money. Ugh, it's just sucky.
The one thing I
Yeah.
love, yeah, the one thing I like about the library is like when I first went in was how they had a lot of new releases for music albums, and I'm a huge indie fan. I was shocked to see a lot of indie artists in the CD section. I was like, oh my goodness, they just keep
Oh
up with
yeah.
everything.
That was another reason because we used to, like, even before me and Charles started dating, so I'm like 16 and he was my boyfriend at the time, friend. We would both use the computers for MySpace. So I'd be like, oh, hey Charles, like, don't tell my dad I'm dating James. And like we'd talk for like just brief moments, and my boyfriend didn't really talk to Charles for some reason, but you'd go to the library, you'd update your MySpace, and then they blocked MySpace. So you'd find proxies and you'd get around and you go on MySpace. You'd get movies or you'd get like music, and you go home and you rip the CD to like Windows Media Player, and then you burn your own CDs, or you could take those and convert it onto like I had an iPod mini that was lime green. It was my friend's dad's, and he got like a new one of the new ones that played video. So I was like, I'll take that one. Like, yeah. So I had my iPod mini, and I remember just having full of music from the library. It was just fun.
Oh, that's all funny.
So many memories. And then on top of that, like, when I was like 18, 19, me and Charles would go to the library, and that's when they started carrying like manga and anime. So I'd get a couple shoujo beats and stuff like that, and read Crimson Heat, and then you know what I mean. Like you read some stuff, but there is some good series that I found out from the library, but I've not been able to like find in person, or if I do, they're super expensive. One of them was Translucent, and it was really cool because this girl, she slowly is turning translucent over time, and it's not like one of those like big-eyed anime things. It's actually pretty cool. So I was like, oh sweet. I don't know what else I figured out, but yeah, I was like, oh, that was the shit. Going and renting movies and stuff. Because Blockbuster was on its way out, and you had to have a membership for Blockbuster. So you have to pay to go to Blockbuster and possibly wait if the movie is there. Or you could go to the library, you sign up for a card, and you could rent it for however long you wanted, kind of deal, and then you take it home. Or I mean, take it back.
Yeah, I thought it was not so sad when Hollywood Video and Blockbuster went under, because it was like you could get the same movies at the library, and you get a lot longer time to check it out. Like where I lived, it was 2 weeks. You compared to 3 days with Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, I was like, yeah, no thanks.
Plus, what a lot of
I
people
miss
don't think
Blockbuster.
about is like if you have iTunes, you could just check out tons of CDs from the library and just rip them all on iTunes.
Yep, that was the coolest thing. Like that was so much easier.
Like not as many people are smart enough to do that. They just don't even think about it.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot safer than LimeWire.
Exactly.
Oh God, this is the biggest joke ever, but it was AIDS for your computer, LimeWire.
Yeah,
Well,
LimeWire is
I
pretty
know that
bad.
Bill, the one thing I learned about LimeWire was that Bill Clinton did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I don't know what you're. I'm just saying.
Oh, it's a LimeWire joke. It's a LimeWire
Okay.
joke. Anyone that's ever downloaded anything from LimeWire will not understand that one.
Yeah. Jesus.
You get me, Funky Joe?
Yeah, I used to have like the cassette and the LimeWire.
However, I did shop at freestufffonline.com.
So, Fred, I got a message from somebody that they were asking if you do commissioned voice acting. Like, because
What
you
now?
commissioned voice acting. So, like, if somebody commissions you to voice act in their video game or such, do you still do that anymore?
I've really had too much time. I had one that I was gonna do, but had a death in the family, and it just kind of happened right in the middle of it. And I was like, dude, you're gonna have to find somebody else to do it. I'm not gonna have time. And then, other than that, no, not really. I think the last time I can't remember. I've done a couple things. I just can't remember which one was the last one.
What was that game you were in with the fox? It was the indie game.
Oh, Dust?
Yeah, Dust. That's the.
That's
Elite Dangerous.
What's that Bedfellows game?
Wasted.
Bedfellows Frenzy.
Game, the Bedfellows Frenzy game, and
Weren't you doing some voice for Northern Tunes?
do what?
Weren't you doing some voice recording for what's his name, Northern Tunes?
Hold on a second. What now?
Oh yeah, he used your voice for that 3D model, remember?
I couldn't hear you for what?
Oh, was it with Northern Tunes?
Oh yeah. I don't think that's a video game though.
I just remember you doing voicing for that. Let it go.
Yeah. I think he's still putting that together too.
Yeah.
Homer soothing ocean. Oh my god. Dude, I'll never forget that legitimately because I was a kid and I was always scared of my grandparents' house, and I'm talking up until I was like 15 because we watched Alien and Aliens a little too young, and they had a big house. Like, I don't know how the square footage, but there's like 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. You know what I mean? My grandparents were well off, and every time we'd go see them, it was just like, yep, the xenomorph and the facehugger, I'm dead. I don't even know it. So I'm like listening to the CD trying to go to bed. I'm already scared of like my grandparents' house at night, and I'm scared of like the dark. And then this shit comes on and I just ripped my headphones out. And I was like, nope, I'm done.
Was it a big house they lived in?
Yeah, they did. Because it was always my mom and my two sisters, like, so us 3 girls that would go visit them. And I think their house was the model home for the whole neighborhood in Las Vegas. Like, that whole
Are you rubbing
neighborhood.
your phone against something?
Oh, no, my headphone is rubbing against my shirt. I apologize. I'll hold it up.
That's cool. It just sounded like scratchy pantyhose.
Oh my god, no. Scratchy videos. No, their house was the model house for the whole neighborhood though. So I think it was built in either 92 or 94, I can't remember. And then they moved in 2 years later because they used it as the model home. So they weren't allowed to like move in. And they were the first person to buy their house in that whole neighborhood. So I don't know. She's been there ever since. Like, I literally do not remember them being in any other house. And since he passed away, my grandpa, she's still stayed there. So, it is a nice house, though. It's a very nice house.
I remember seeing one CD in the library. The CD was made in like 1997, and it was like titled "The Greatest Hits Made in America of All Time." And so it was one of those compilation CDs. So it's made in 1997, but there was only one song on that CD of 20 songs that was made past the year 1945.
Oh, so it's one of those old... My dad had one of those CDs, like, it was like America's Greatest Hits Soda Pop Edition. It had Mungo Jerry and like American Pie on it, and like all this old stuff, you know?
But the weird thing is, so like we're not, like, I say past 1945, but we're talking about stuff like Battle Hymn of the Republic and things like that, that I probably should have said like 1905, because like all of these songs, like there weren't even any jazz songs on there. But the one song that was made past that time period, and it's just so funny just because of the random choice of that song, it was actually Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh my god.
Nice.
So you know, you got Amazing Grace, Battle Hymn of the Republic, My Country 'Tis of Thee, of course the American Anthem, and Sound of Silence. It's a good track.
That's like somebody that wanted...
It is.
They just wanted to like start a record company, and they were like, I really like these songs, man. They made a special CD for like grandma or grandpa, totally.
Oh, definitely. There's also
That
a
was
lot
the
of
cool
like
thing about the
donated
library.
like, Casey Kasem CDs of like, ah yes, the Casey Kasem top hits of 1971
Yeah.
and 72 and 73 and 74, and they donate like one for each year for like 3 decades.
When you talk about renting stuff from the library, it reminds me of those what are those Mr. Men tapes? Do you remember those?
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
Mr. Messy and whatnot.
Yeah, this is the. I just remember like renting those from the library because it would be like a little book with like a cassette tape, and you could like play it along with the book.
Oh gosh.
And you will know it is time to turn the page when you hear them chimes ringing like this. And then it does a little chime noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beep.
I always liked when you go to the library and you'd find some weird stuff. Like, I'm talking about the one band that like lives near
beer
the
bottle?
library. No, the one band that. Sorry, she's been cray cray. Like the one band that's like they're not doing too well, and they donate a couple copies of their CD to the library for PR. You know.
Yeah.
So you'd find some weird stuff. You're like, what the hell? Like this isn't. You know, I was about to say a town name by me, but this is in Blank, Washington. What the? That's like 5 miles away. How
Quick
did?
look
How
up
did? Four...
everything near. I think 5 miles between
Yeah,
Lake Washington.
yeah. It's like
Even
how did-
better. But our library kind of does that. Like we have like a storage. I don't want to say storage room, but it's basically like an empty room that like people can like rent out for stuff. And we get a lot of like people in their 50s trying to be in a band to perform there. And it'll be like it has to be on a Sunday if it's like music, because that's when less people are there, because you hear what they're playing throughout the entire library. Like it's not like annoyingly loud or anything, but like, you know, you can hear them. But like it's always like, you know, like, all right, we're gonna cover 60s folk songs, woo! And of course the audience is full of 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds.
Oh yeah, we had a little town. We have like it's every year, once or twice a year. They have this like they close down the main street and all the shops are open. And they have like a bunch of little stands and stuff, so local artists, things like that come. And I kid you not, like the one year we were pushing Jolene around, they had like this, you know, really soft, like easy new wave music going. And it's like a band full of nothing but people like that. And then all the people that are like dancing real slow, they're all like 50 plus, but they're just enjoying themselves and having a good time. So it's like
Yeah, we're all going to be those people in about 20 years.
Hell yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
You're all right. This little tune was one of my favorites as a wee little lad.
Somebody
hit the
once
floor.
told
Let the
me.
bodies hit the floor.
That or like I used to jam out to this. It's called Skrillex. It was like
Oh,
these
God.
knees. Like
Grab a brush and put a little makeup.
yeah, dude.
Or if I want to hear, this was a sad song I listened to in my day, and it's the songs that they use in the Gears of War trailers.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, or the Gary Jules, like what's it?
Mad World
World,
and
or-
what was the other one?
Let it go.
Sun
Let
Kill,
it go.
Sun Kill, or Hair on Blue by Sun Kill Moon.
Or it's like, you know,
No, see, they're gonna like, all right, we're gonna do Mad World, and that's when like the entire audience just boos them and throws Diet Coke cans at them. We've heard that one already.
I'm seeing those trailers for Gears of War. Were those the original recordings of the songs, or were they like a cover version?
Wasn't the Mad World originally like
Tears
an
for
upbeat
Fears
song?
I think they're.
I wouldn't describe it upbeat, but I mean, it was originally like Tears for Fears, kind of new wavy.
Yeah, it was very.
song.
No, I agree. It sounded a little bit more upbeat compared to the other version, the 2002 version of Mad World.
I would say it was more like, if the Jules one is more like somber, hints of depressing pessimism for the future.
When
The
Johnny
original one,
Darko came out, it was
Yeah.
like the shit, and everybody was like, I'm so complicated and unique, and I listen to Gary Jules.
yeah, but then like the original one is more like mysterious, but like neutral mysterious. Like I wouldn't say it's quite as depressing, but I wouldn't say it's quite upbeat either.
I'll post the link.
Yeah.
On Voice Chat Companion.
Okay.
Which
So I
that
was
one
like,
that one's always fun because since I love Tears for Fears, somebody will like look through my iPod. They're like, "Oh, you listen to Mad World too? I love Gary Jules." No, it's Tears for Fears. Who the hell's Tears for Fears? Okay, we're done talking.
Real talk though, those trailers were really cool for Gears of War.
My
1, 2, and
nephews
3, they
were
were
sho-
fantastic.
my nephews were showing me those in the car. They're like, "Can we use your phone, Aunt Amanda?" It's like, "Sure, bud. What are you gonna do on it?" Everybody knows they got caught looking up Grand Theft Auto 5. Certain entertainment clubs, they got caught. So I was kind of giving them. I was giving them a little. They knew that I knew, and they were like, "No,
Totally.
it's called. It's the Gears of War trailer." And I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go." So we're sitting in my dad's girlfriend's car going to my uncle's, and it's like a 45-minute drive. So we're using my phone to just look up and watch different things. And he was like, "I really like this song." I was like, "Okay, bud," and he plays it, and I was like, "Oh, this is Mad World." He's like, "You know this song? You know it?" And I was like, "Yeah." It was just weird. I felt old. I was like, "Oh no." I mean, so I had to watch that Gears of War trailer like 3 times in a row because he wanted to.
I also like the black and white one or sepia tone one for 2. There was no song. It was just like a really old recording of a poem. I really like that. I love all those trailers.
If you got a bunch of kids wanting to play like the original Gears of War now, how are they going to play it? They're going to ask to borrow their dad's Xbox 360 or something?
My
shocking.
nephews talked to me about that briefly. Like they were like, because they ask if I play certain games, you know, and they like Gears of War, but my dad won't let them play it because it's too gory. He monitors what they play basically, and so they were asking us like, "Have you played it?" And I was like, "No." They were like, "Do you have an Xbox?" And I was like, "No, but I have a PlayStation." And they're like, "But it's only for Xbox." And I was like, "Okay." And they were like, "Do you have a 360? And that's what you could play it on." And I was like, "No, I don't, but I think you need the original one, buddy." And he was like, "What?" And I don't think they knew that there was an Xbox, like the one that came first. So I had to explain to my nephews, like, "Yeah, there's this Xbox, and 360 came out, man."
I don't get it. I knew what a Commodore 64 and an Atari and stuff was when I was a kid. And that was like before my generation.
My
There
dad
used to be
doesn't... Sorry.
I was going to say, there used to be an Xbox before the 360, and we used to call that the Xbox One. And then Microsoft released an Xbox One, and then we're still confused to this day.
My dad doesn't, to explain on that, Fred, we got them into video games and stuff, and that's the only reason they have consoles, is like Charlie took my dad to go buy it because he refuses to buy it himself. And so my dad's, the only thing he's played is like Ace Combat with his friends back in like the early 90s. I think the only system my dad has ever owned, I didn't find this out till years later, but my sister found his Nintendo DS, like the original thick silver one, and he bought it to play Tetris, and that's it. And she said, "You get me Nintendogs, and I won't tell, you know, me and my older sister." And he bought her Nintendogs, so she'd take it out of his drawer and play Nintendogs and put it back, and he'd play Tetris. That's literally the only thing I've ever heard of him ever playing.
My mom likes to play.
Oh yeah, and he has every
Wii Sports.
Oh, see, I don't know if he's played that before. I know he likes Cabela's Big Game Hunter a bit, but that's my dad. He's like hunter guy. He doesn't like video games, and so.
Hey, that old gold tee.
He just
Head out, guys. You guys have a good night.
Got a good one there.
Apparently, the guy who made that game Gold, he's like a billionaire now.
He doesn't play any sports, nothing. He would play like They did and when he played like Ace Combat, his friend had the huge like joystick, you know? So they'd sit and play on that for hours and like how the flips and switches and stuff. And he played Tetris. That's the only things I've heard of him playing. When they'd come to our house, our nephews would watch, or when we babysit them, they'd watch us play WoW on the computer and such. Or when my younger sister goes there, they watch her play League of Legends. So it took a lot for him to buy them a system. So I think they finally they got an Xbox 360 because somebody my dad worked for was like, oh yeah, if your kids want this, take it. So he got one for free, and they only had a couple games. And then they got older, and when we went back in April, Charles went with my dad, and they like it's a Game Crazy or something like that, some local game place. Charles went, and Charles is like, they were trying to tell my dad it was like $500, and he was like, no, this is used, and like he got, he basically, they couldn't screw my dad over, so that's the only reason he bought an Xbox One, only reason, and they saved up for like a year and a half to get it too. So he never played video games. My mom was more into video games, but she died like 2 weeks before Dominic was even born. So I think the only system, well, yeah, until me and Charlie started dating, the only system we got a computer, so we played like Diablo 2, or we played, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, Loopy Landscapes, or Sims. That was the only ones we played, but I was the only one in the house. I had a Game Boy Color, and I had a Sega Genesis, because my mom was dating somebody that worked for Sega, and he gave it to her to give to me for a birthday, Christmas present, whatever. So that was the only system we had for years. And on the computer, my dad was still even like, you shouldn't play those video games. Whatever, Dad, this is The Sims. Like, how is this bad? Like, I'm trying to make her a superstar. Can you please stop?
The reality was very different.
Yeah, I had a Commodore 64 too. I loved it.
That's what Charlie's dad was like. He owned a computer shop back in the day, but his dad has always been into computers. So I had like an Amiga, I believe 1500. I don't know, but I know he'd play Woody's World a lot and a couple other games. And then they'd play a bunch of computer games like, Chips Challenge or Chex Quest and things like that. He got to play Serious Sam for a while until his parents found out what that was, and they were like, nah.
I remember my very first T-rated game was Red Alert 2, and my mom wanted me to play it muted, so I couldn't hear the screams of dying characters.
His parents never let him own Grand Theft Auto, but they had friends they could go to where they'd play it, but their games were monitored.
Or any potential swear words, which I would find out later there are none.
Oh man! So just so you know, we had Animal Crossing for GameCube. This is back in 2007, and me and Charles, we had a Nintendo 64, and we had a GameCube, and that's it. We got a PlayStation 1 later, but back to the original story. We had to upgrade your Nook store to like an Emporium. You had to put in another memory card and create another town and go to it. So we did that, and we were in Rush, so we named it something like Fucksville or something like that, right? And like the character's name was like Buttfucker or something, just stupid. Like, stupid. No, dude, we couldn't think of anything else. We just wanted to upgrade the store. We weren't going to use the town ever again. So we were in a rush. We did all this.
Be careful.
Stuff.
You don't want JoJo saying that.
I know. So we thank God Elmo's thing was on, and she's been ignoring me. She's like angry at me.
Hello, Elmo's world, buttfucker.
She's. I'll record it if she says it, but I'll tell her like we don't say that. But anyways, his mom we were playing Animal Crossing one day, and his mom comes in, and she's just like watching what we're doing. So people from Buttfucker or like Bucksville start coming into our town, and we'll talk to them because I'm like, oh cool, it's a character. And his mom is standing right there, and they're like, have you heard of Bucksville? And we're like, oh god. So we're like trying to get over with this dialogue, and of course they can't just say they can't say the name just once. They have to like throw it in 3 or 4 times. And I remember me and him were just like super worried, like, oh, it was hilarious. After that, we were more careful of what we named our stuff.
What a great story, Mark.
Oh, hi. Hi, doggy.
Not a great story. No one was hospitalized.
Nope.
But by Tommy Wiseau standard, someone has to be hospitalized for it to be a quote water story. No offense.
No, you're okay. It was just religious parents, and we were like, you know, oh god, that was pretty.
So I don't know if you saw, but like Tommy Wiseau went on with James Franco on Jimmy Kimmel to talk about like the Disaster Artist movie, and he said that the movie was 99.5% accurate. So I guess it's a good movie. But the book that it's based on was only 60% accurate.
Dude,
I don't think that. I don't guess Tommy was there as a consultant for the book, though.
Well, no, I actually don't know.
I mean, wasn't he there as like a consultant for the movie?
I think that's the case. Yeah.
Maybe, but like they still based it heavily off of the book, though. Mainly, it was just funny that the difference was that much.
I have got to see it. I want to see it so bad.
Oh my god, do not spoil for me, but has anybody seen The Shape of Water?
That's the one that I'm gonna go see with my sister. That all I've heard is that it's absolutely amazing, and no one is talking about it.
Is it a horror movie?
No.
Go watch a trailer for it. It's by Guillermo del Toro.
I know it's by.
Toro, cool. Just kidding, Fred. I know I make that mistake a lot too.
Movie?
It looks like the guy Abe from Hellboy, but it's not Abe. But same sort of fish man and
It's basically Creature from the Black Lagoon, a love story in the 20s or something. I don't remember.
Really? That's not what I thought it was at all.
Yeah,
MX, you just go watch the trailer.
By the dude who did Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, and all that.
Oh, I knew that bit.
Yeah, go watch they have a couple extended trailers out. Go watch them, because I'd spent like 25 minutes watching them, and it was worth it. And the extended trailers give you a little more, like, you know, story, well, not storyline, but it's all the same stuff, but they just gave you more to go off of. I really want to see it. It looks really good. I also, the new Hellboy is coming out, and with the cop from Stranger Things, David Arbor. Yeah, July 11th, or January, I'm sorry, January 11th, I believe. And I was like, why didn't they choose Perlman again? Apparently Perlman, I didn't know this, but he's like 70 years old. He doesn't really look it. He's almost 70, and he said he felt he was too old to play that role. But him, and then Guillermo and Ron Perlman, David Arbor, and those two dudes, they all went out and they were at like an IHOP and had like breakfast or lunch together, and there was a picture online. David Arbor was like, no, that's real. I wanted that picture. So that was pretty funny.
He's 67.
67, dude, 67 though? Really? Like, that's close to 70. I had no idea. I thought he was like 55.
It's his hairline and facial hair.
He's looked the same for the last 20 years. What'd you expect?
Yeah. Like Keanu Reeves and Will Smith have looked the same. With
Just
longer
about, yeah.
hair or a beard. I did like the Hellboy movies. A lot of people didn't. The first one was really cool. The second one was like, okay. But wait, was the second one the one with like the golden prince dude? Luke Goss and
Yeah, that was it.
The Golden Army.
Yeah. I liked them. I thought they were, I don't know anything about the comics, but I did enjoy the movies, to be honest. I thought they were really entertaining. And I really like Ron Perlman. And Luke Goss is from Blade 2. He plays, I can't remember his name. that he's the bad guy, and you hardly see him in anything, but he's good in those weird type roles. So I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. I think more of the aesthetic of the movie was what was cool too. Like the creatures looked different in Hellboy and everything. Like I said, I don't read comics.
Oh, over the last weekend, since we're on the subject of movies, that's my chance to throw in a subject of my own. Over the weekend, I saw It Follows for the first time, finally.
I heard it was good, but I haven't seen it.
I think it was very good, and I liked it a lot. But I can't consider a rating. I can't give it something like 1 to 10.
There-
Can't say, oh, it was an 8 out of 10. It's not that great.
They already made a sequel to It?
Yeah. It was a movie that follows it. Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not what I'm talking. That's not. No, I was being a wise
Who's on
ass.
first?
Third base. No, It Follows came out like 3 years ago. A very, very unique, weird, and very tense horror movie. I recommend it.
Can you PM that to me? Because I'd be interested.
Sure, I can do that. I want to
So,
see.
can you give me?
You can try it.
Oh, sorry.
What? You go ahead. You go ahead.
Like extremely vague synopsis, like without spoiling or giving away, because I've seen a lot of movies, so when me and Charlie watch stuff, sometimes when I make those little asshole predictions, like, yep, she's gonna die at the end because she loves him and she's pregnant, and like most of the time one of those things will come true. So what's a general synopsis of the movie?
I don't want to give away I don't want to give away anything. I would say very vaguely, it's kind of like there's something very vague about at the center of the plot that is supernatural. More, I guess you could say it's more thriller than horror in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Very subtle, subdued, and it's kind of like a monster movie in a very vague way.
Okay.
And a very interesting rule set that I don't want to spoil. Now, the thing that I can gush about and not worry about it, because this isn't technically a spoiler, but my favorite thing is that you can tell that the director of the movie is a very deep thinker. If you've ever just had an experience like by yourself when you're just waiting somewhere and you see a pattern in light, you're waiting in a strange room and you see a pattern in the tiles on the floor and you just let your eyes and your mind wander. And if you've ever just had little things like that happen, the main character does that a lot, and the camera just sort of quietly does the same thing. Just little things happen that are packed into every scene. Just little small character actions that are really subtle and nuanced things that I thought just made every scene feel that much more immersive, and that just had me completely settled into, not necessarily like hooked into everything, I was just settled in with every change. That's a very strange thing to talk about, but it's such a strange, subtle movie that's one of the things that's jumped out at me. I know that sounds really weird, but the filmmaking, the camera, every time the camera moves, it's a very unconventional camera movement, which I found very engrossing. The set design itself is also unique, because you got people with cell phones, but the TVs are antenna TVs, and like some technology feels current and some technology feels a few decades old in a way that makes it hard to tell what the specific date is. It's stuff like that. All the little things make the movie just stand out. Not to mention there are some really great scares.
Okay. I don't like jump scares though. I like the ones that are actually like scary.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say it's like The Babadook, in that The Babadook is a scary movie without a single jump scare. There's like 1 or 2 or 3, but they're warranted.
That's totally fine. I can do with a couple, but when Yeah, dinosaurs are extremely awesome. They actually are, but I don't like it when a movie relies on jump scares. It really makes me upset.
Right. Let's see. Yeah, I think I can only remember two off the top of my head, and everything else is all about the. It's like you know something is very, very close and dangerous, and you can't tell where it's going to come from. It's that kind of tension, and it's full of that, and that's
Ooh,
great.
that's the best. I love that. That's the best. Like one of Junji Ito's stories that really gets me like that.
Yeah.
One sec.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, they're actually making a Slender Man movie.
Oh,
Didn't they already do that like 3 times? Or try to?
I don't know, but it'll be in theaters on May 18th, 2018.
I thought the Slenderman game was based off of a movie.
It's based off of like a YouTube miniseries.
It's the Slender Man's one of those creepy pasta things, isn't it?
Yeah, and then the indie game. Yeah. I'm just surprised the movie has taken this long. Because I remember the game at least like, oh, wow, almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was in 2012, I believe.
Okay, she's finally calmed down.
Or whichever one it was, where you find the 7 pieces of paper or something.
Yeah.
So the Junji Ito story that I like that gives you a sense, like first Omega Fault, the Fault of the Arm, whatever that one, the one with like the holes in the caverns. That one's always been really scary without having any jump scares. It really makes you very unsettled and like anxiety ridden. Another one was the one where they're harboring the war deserter. And at the end, like, oh, I'm not going to spoil the story. I'll find out the name of it. But that one, I personally, that's one of my personal favorites. Because the way it ends, there's no closure, nothing. It's left up to you. Like the story of the lady and the tiger, like, and he opens the door. And that's the last line of, like, the story. And it leaves you to, like, choose in your mind, oh, he opened it where the lady is and he marries her. Or no, he opened the door where the tiger is and he was viciously mauled. It leaves you with one of those open endings, so, and that's part of the reason. Huh?
It was he opened the door with a tiger, but he fell in love with the tiger and they got married.
Okay. I guess there's a third option.
There's always a third option.
Or maybe he opened the door with the lady and she viciously mauled him, and the tiger wept. I'm just saying that. Like that's part of one of the unsettling things is they leave you on such a either like a cliffhanger, but not one that's BS, you know what I mean? But one that's like genuinely like, oh my god, what do we do? Let me go find the name of it and I'll post it. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, I just wanted to say one more thing about It Follows Fred. I was thinking when I was hearing the soundtrack, it was very John Carpenter-esque, so you might dig that as well when you get around to seeing it. It's very much like that. A lot of electronic influence and very, at the same time, driving, but also somewhat unsettling. Well, it better be unsettling,
So,
and it was.
So it does follow.
I don't want to spoil it.
Does it pursue?
Well, isn't that the same thing?
Well, pursue has a bit more of an intent and a bit more of a rush to it.
Maybe. I'm not sure if I follow.
His type of horror is like the kind of horror I like Aliens as well. I like them the best. Like, I don't know, Alien and Aliens were two really, really good horror movies for me, and The Grudge and The Ring, I would have to say as well. I know there's a lot others, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. It's one of those things. But yeah, the story is called A Deserter in the House, and it's by Junji Ito. That's one of my favorites because of, I don't know. I like the way he tells stories. They're very unsettling, and it's like spooky, but without being super spooky. I mean, some of them are like, what was it? That the window next door. That one was just plain out like, that lady's face is like, you'll never forget. But or the ribcage woman story. That one's
You
pretty
mean like
cool.
Maud from
What?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
I can't remember what she
That's a
looks like.
face she'll never forget.
Oh my god.
Never
You
mind that.
mean Large Marge?
Large Marge, yeah.
Oh.
I had the first two letters right. Close enough.
March, March.
Not really. I just realized I'm on 30% battery. I'm gonna get to the charger, and then I'm gonna give this kid a bath. So if you guys aren't on when I get back on, it was cool talking.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you around.
Yeah,
All
thanks
right,
for that,
have a good
that
one.
movie.
Bye.
Bye.
I do enjoy our chats. They're nice.
I'm gonna go get a drink. I'll be right back.
Okay. Have you guys happy death day?
Say what?
Well, stream. Oh, I gotta
Death
say.
Day.
Oh. Oh, I gotta say, stream. I'm gonna leave.
No, it's the Happy Death Day.
But I'm not.
It's like Groundhog Day, but
What I see I can do, there's gonna be some changes.
I never saw
Yeah.
that one.
Catch the man.
Groundhog Day, but a horror.
Yeah, like I saw the trailers everywhere, but I just didn't go see it.
Yes. Okay.
I didn't want to.
It doesn't take itself
Scary.
seriously. It's not scary at all.
There's nothing scarier than a decade and a half old 50 Cent song. Ah!
Which one?
Well, because the trailers, they just kept on playing in the club. Like that was like her ringtone or whatever.
Don't get the reference.
Wow, the streams with scary stuff and Frontier to 42 is actually, this is pretty cool in the background. So, how's everybody doing?
Pretty good. Just working on a paper that's due in 10 hours.
I'm just dealing with the last day of full classes before finals set in. That's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, my finals are next week.
Yeah.
And I'm just packing stuff up because I sold a couple items on eBay, so I'm just gonna go to the post office tomorrow.
Cool, cool, cool. Still in school, like college or something like that?
College.
Steamed hams, but every occurrence of repeat occurrence of a word, the previous occurrences of that word are played over top.
Oh, I have that video.
Steamed
Yeah.
hams, but every reoccurrence of a word is cut out.
The Bee Movie, but every time they say the word bee, the movie slows down by 1/2.
The current thing is steamed hams. It's
I've noticed that when the conversation becomes overwhelmingly about the newest dank meme, the odds that the stream ends increases exponentially. I don't mean to be a smart.
Well, Fred's not here right now.
Saying it, but just letting you know, if the subject stays similar to this field, we might end up going to general at some point. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm fairly tired at this point, so I might not be wording myself the best. And also, I'm fairly ill, and I had a little too much cough syrup by accident.
What if the memes are so dank they're not dank?
Like those Crash Bandicoot woe memes, yeah, that died pretty quick.
No, I mean like further than that. Exactly.
Dank to the point of not being dank. I get you.
Dankception.
That's not dank within a dank. Something being so dank that it's no longer dank is not the same as dank within dank. That's like something being such a dream that it's no longer a dream. That would not make sense. Those are not the same things. Please get your dankology correct.
That sounded kind of redundant.
Really? I thought it sounded ridiculous.
Okay, fine. Post dank.
I thought it was redonkulous.
Wait, what happened? What happened?
What didn't happen?
I felt my life force slowly ebb from my body. That's what happened.
How did you even get
Don't go into the light.
Okay. It's been fun listening to you on the stream. It's like, I hope you didn't mind.
I try to be amusing, just generally.
Yeah, me too. I try to be like off normal. So yeah, if I like being on the stream. Thank you guys for letting me getting in the stream.
Well, when the stream's on, you know where to join in. You know, join in anytime.
Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna like, Biro. I'm gonna go to sleep, so I have to work tomorrow. But thank you for everything.
Absolutely.
Good night.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, bye.
Good night.
You are at the hospital. Administration is right here.
I'm going
Get
to
in
the
there.
emergency room, sir.
Get in there.
Where?
Get out of my car now.
Where is my
Get out
destination?
of my car now.
I don't know where I am. I'm asking you where is my destination. If you will kindly point at where I am
Pulled
supposed
into
to
your
go.
destination. It said here I was at your destination. It's over. Get out of my car now.
It said 1760.
Get out of my car